It is Friday, December 23rd. This is Ryan from Sports Card Radio here to do a podcast. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Hopefully you got something. Hopefully you got all your shopping done. Been very, very busy around the retail establishments around where I am. Hopefully you got all your shopping done. Hopefully you got something good under the tree. We're back. I got a busy next couple months, so we better get in a podcast now, and I got a lot of things to talk about today. It's going to be a doozy of a show. Going to be going to Vegas on Monday. A friend texts me. He's got 2 kids. He's got in-laws he's been dealing with. He shot me a text. He said, man, I really need a break to Vegas. So, that's music to my ears. Going to go shoot off some money in Vegas from the 26th. And I think I'm coming back. Just a quick trip. Coming back Wednesday, I think. And then actually I'm going down to Los Angeles in the middle of next month and going to be staying for at least 2 weeks doing some business things. I don't know if you guys heard, but this guy, Donald Trump, got elected president. And it's my understanding. I don't read that well. I don't listen that well. Depending who you talk to, my intelligence and IQ level may not be very high, but from what I've been reading, this guy, Donald Trump, is going to lower the corporate tax rate, I think from something like 35% to 15%. So, I don't do math very well. I don't read very well. I don't listen very well, but a 20% spread there seems really, really juicy and something, regardless of how you feel about Donald Trump. If you're a businessman such as myself, that 20% tax cut, that's something that you don't hear every day. So I'm going to go down, take care of some business stuff in Los Angeles. It's been a long time since I've been down there. So I've got to do actually a little bit of an educational journey for me. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with my businesses now that there might be a 20% discount, or there definitely will be a sizable discount coming up to the corporate tax rate. So I've got to restructure probably some things that I have going on, and I'm going to get some little bit of education and some help with that down in SoCal. So I'm going to go to a couple Laker games as well. So I don't know how much time I'll be having to do the sports card. The sad thing is a lot of things happen eerily. A lot of things have happened the last couple of years around January 1st. People reevaluate their business. I mean, PressPass went out of business right then. We've seen license changes happen right around the first of the year. So a lot of weird things have happened. But maybe we'll be able to sneak in a show before I head down there. Maybe while I'm down there too. I'll be sitting on the beach or something. Oh, already thinking about it. But, 7 things to talk about today. Whoa, we got a loaded show. First topic, Panini Replay. I have to talk about this. Literally, I have to talk about Panini Replay. So I will tell you why I literally have to talk about it. Second topic, Sports Card Uncensored wrote a really good blog post. And, people don't really read anymore. So I'm going to go through this blog post. And it was incredible. One of the best things I've read in quite a while. And I mean, this is incredible. So hit on several points that I think are valid and certainly worth talking about. Third thing, I have an idea for group breakers that I'll back up with some data. 5, Find a Card Show. That's a website that I've had for a long time. I basically just organize all the sports card show. It usually only takes me a few weeks to get that done because a lot of the dealers, they'll put out their schedule way in advance and they'll have like monthly shows or maybe a few shows a year. So they nail those down in January, February. I've started the process on that. It was a shameless plug. I'll talk about a little bit about that website and then some underrated shows. There's some shows that get put on that I think could be at someday equivalent to the National Sports Collectors Convention that I go to every year. And I think these are undercovered, and I might actually have to make the commitment to go to one of these shows this year to fully promote it and see it for myself and see if it can actually at someday reach the level of the National, which I think it definitely could. 6th topic, sportscardinfo.com. This is a website that actually predates Sports Card Radio. He sent me a really nice pin, Sports Card Info pin the other day. So at the very least, I want to shout that out. If I got some time at the end there, I want to talk about, that. And then the 7th topic I had was just a couple things I've watched on TV that almost have a little indirect indirect relation to cards, and then a couple podcast recommendations, and actually something, if you're a blogger out there, there's a website I found that you probably may already know about, but I just signed up, and maybe I'll shout that out too, because I'm getting some learning skills off that as well. So Panini Replay Basketball, I literally have to talk about this because I speak with dealers and shop owners and guys who are kind of in the trenches selling this stuff. I talked to quite a few of them. Sometimes it's just over text or Twitter, or sometimes it's phone calls. But I talked to several guys, and I got like 3 or 4 guys calling me about this Panini Replay product, just saying, hey, heads up about this. This was really bad. This was almost kind of shady. Can you say something about it? I even had 2 or 3 people being like, hey, could you maybe throw a little shout about what's going on here? So I am literally obligated to talk about this, because these guys share a lot of in-depth information with me. Some of that information makes it onto the podcast. Some of that information makes it onto the website. Some of that information, gets transmitted down onto the collector, and I get that information from these guys. So when these guys come to me and say, hey man, I kind of need you to say something about this Panini Replay, we got to step up to the plate and talk about it. Panini Replay Basketball, how I originally found out about it, actually somebody tweeted me about it, and they were like tweeting Tracy Hackler, but they included me on it, and it was a Terry Cummins 89 90 NBA Hoops card, autographed and encased, and it had a little hand-drawn serial number on it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'd never heard about this product. Literally and I didn't respond to him. I was like, I don't even know what this is about. A couple hours later, though, get a email from one of the distributors, which is fairly common. That happens sometimes every day or twice a day. But this one said, we're going to be releasing a statement about Panini. Panini is going to be releasing a statement about Panini Replay Basketball. Keep all your boxes and all your UPC codes. And that is rare that you see something like that. And this was around December 8th or December 9th. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that's really crazy. You never see an email. Rarely do you see an email like that from a distributor where clearly this product had gone haywire in some kind of way. So I thought maybe there was some issue with the product, or maybe something happened to it. So then I went to next thing you always do whenever you hear about something, you go right to the Blowout Sports Card Forum. And sure enough, there was already a pretty lengthy discussion about the product, fairly lengthy discussion, probably several page discussion about how bad the product was. Personally, some people took issue with the product itself. It was basically, it seemed like leftover cards that Panini had, or maybe they got acquired late. And they had, essentially it was a buyback autograph, but they didn't buy these cards. I think these were cards that were already in their inventory. And so you got 2 autographs, and it was basketball only. It was 2 autographs per box. And it was like 190 wholesale, and it was, you were selling to your customers for $200, $220, $250. Personally, some people took issue with the fact that they were taking these cards that were in their inventory, having them autographed separately, hand serial numbered, encased. In some cases, there were serial numbers on the card, and then the autograph was hand serial numbered to a different number, so it was kind of weird. A lot of people took issue with it. I actually don't have any issue with the product. It might work at the appropriate price point. It sounds like maybe it was a $50 product, and that's where the problem lied, is that after the first couple boxes opened, it was very apparent that this stuff was way overpriced, like highly overpriced. And Panini immediately admitted guilt, saying, hey, hold all your UPC wrappers or all your UPC codes and your receipts for this, because we're going to do something about this. It's like an admission of guilt, like right off the bat, that Panini's even saying themselves, hey, this is a horrible product. If you did buy it, save what you have. Problem is, a lot of dealers got stuck with this. I mean, some dealers were stuck with upwards of $50,000 worth of stuff. I talked to about, I think, 3 different people who ranged from, a few cases on up to, tens of thousands of dollars. And then they also knew of other dealers who were also stuck with a range of, a case or a few boxes on all the way up to, guys had, we're in for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 worth of this product. And we've talked about on this podcast about allocations and how you have to buy stuff, to get the good stuff. That wasn't from my understanding, that wasn't necessarily the case with Panini Replay, but it was a very short order window. They took pre-orders on this just a couple months ago. It was hyped to them. And, you could say what you want. Oh, these dealers should, they get stuck with it. Oh, whatever. But, these guys are kind of the backbone in some regards to the hobby, and they have a direct line to the consumer as well. And I just think the group breakers should be considered almost like your best customer. If you had a hobby store, I mean, if the whole industry was a hobby store, when a group breaker walks in, there's your whale. There's your best. There's one of your best customers. Oh, hey, what you doing? Rich Layton, what you doing? Firehand, what you doing? Mojo Break, what you doing? Platinum Card Breaks. Those are, you pat those guys on the back. So when you stiff these guys with, $10, $15, $20, $50,000 worth of product that now has really been devalued, and you admitted guilt on. I mean, Panini instantly admitted guilt, saying, hey, hang on to your receipts and hang on to your UPC codes. They're admitting that this was overpriced and, oh, hang on, we've got to make this right in some regard. But these guys are still stuck with the product. They still got to buy the product. And it's my understanding that, no refunds were being taken in this. So there's a lot of people are going to be stuck with this at $190 per box wholesale. Now, Panini's solution to all this, why they made dealers hold on to their UPC codes, is they're going to be coming out with kind of a separate Prism Mosaic set. I believe it's going to be a 100 card set, give or take some. 1 in 3 boxes. I believe you get 1 box per box of replay you have. You're going to get 1 box of this Prism Mosaic set, and 1 in 3 boxes has an autograph. So not every box is going to have an autograph. Sure, there are going to be some value in these Prism cards and some of the low print ones and some of the autographs, but you don't get this Prism set until March 1st. So you bought and paid for these Panini Replay boxes, $190 a pop, and maybe let's say hypothetically they're worth $100 now. So you're going to take a $90 hit on every box you have, and you've got to wait till March 1st to get this other set. So right around Christmas time, you were hit with a huge deduction on this stuff that you're either going to have to sit on, you're going to have to get rid of it, and it's toxic right now. First of all, these are basketball cards, and nobody really cares about this. I mean, this is going right over people's heads. They're like, I don't care about basketball cards. Nobody cares about basketball cards. So the people who do collect basketball cards, trust me, they know this product is garbage, and there's no way in heck these group breakers or anybody stuck with this is going to get away with running a full case of this. They're going to have to sprinkle it in mixers. They're going to have to sprinkle it in on giveaways. I think one creative way to do this is, to light your entire inventory on fire on YouTube and see if you can generate enough ad revenue from video for going viral that I lit my here, or maybe just 1 box. Try to just do 1 box and make that go viral and get 250,000 hits on it somehow. Get some publicity that you lit this box on fire and do a really good explanation in the video why you're lighting it on fire. You might be able to recoup at least that, the cost of that box and potentially more if you get something out of it. So, and the exposure to your business could be huge, but that's a little bit of a joke. My advice to both collectors and dealers, my brother said, I believe on his podcast that, it's, hey, if you're a collector and you bought this, it's your bad. I would definitely agree with that. Another thing I want to add to that is that, some people on the Blowout forums were calling for collectors to boycott. That's just not going to work. Boycotts don't work. I mean, I'm trying to think historically something in my life that people boycotted and it worked. I mean, boycotts don't work on the consumer side because you're not going to be able to rally enough troops. People don't care enough. They'll just be like, well, I didn't buy it, but if I did buy it, I only got burned for a couple $100. So what? I'll be a little more careful next time. I'll pick my products better. Or, maybe they don't care. It's just all a gamble to them anyways. You're not going to get collectors to boycott Panini. You're not going to get collectors to boycott Topps. I would highly suggest to never suggest that. Don't ever preach a collector boycott. What I did advise the dealers was I said, Panini has an exclusive with the NFL, and that's probably actually doing well this year with Dak. And I mean, if you can't sell Dak and Zeke Elliott cards, I mean, you shouldn't be in the business. So, but the season runs out here in a couple months, and that's probably if you're a dealer, that's all you're committed to. You're only committed maybe 3 to 6 months in advance. I told these guys, tell them, hey, I know I'm committed 3 to 6 months in advance to these specific products, and maybe you have specific orders. I told them, this is what I told dealers, and I know distributors actually listen to my brother's podcast, and maybe this one too. I don't care if they hear this. I told these dealers to bluff, call up your distributor, and a lot of them use multiple distributors, so maybe you got to call all of them and say, hey, all of them that you have pre-orders with, say, hey, I'm done pre-ordering anything Panini after what I'm committed to. And that's probably is more like 2017 NFL football, which could be garbage, and basketball has been pretty garbage this year, so you're not missing out on anything, and anything else Panini makes really isn't worth it. So I told them to bluff, and what I mean by bluff is that you don't really have to follow through on this. But because this is so far in advance, your orders are so far, when these products come out that you're bluffing that you're not going to order, these are so far in advance and probably will have very little hype behind them that even after 30 days, if you feel like, well, that didn't get the reaction I wanted, Panini didn't do anything for me, these distributors didn't ever, they just hung up the phone when I said, oh, I'm done with you. They didn't come try to blow me and get me to come back. Trust me, you can pick up the phone 30 days later and call these guys and be like, yeah, I'll take X, Y, and Z, and it'll all be there for you at the same price you're pre-ordering it now. Just bluff. Just say you're done. Say you're done with Panini to your distributor, but do it as a bluff. Don't commit to it. Don't tell, and this is what I told the dealers, don't tell your customers. You don't need to alert your customers that you have an issue with Panini. I don't think it's gotten to that point that you need to do that. Again, your customers aren't going to boycott Panini. Your customers may have a different reaction to Panini and a different feeling because they're spending less money with them. They're pick and choosing a lot of times what they're buying and what's maybe spots they're buying and the success rate they're having. Don't tell your customers. Don't alert your customers. Don't try to create some kind of huge collector boycott. Just call your distributor and say you're done with Panini and give it 30 days. And see what happens. See if they come to you with something. See if Panini comes to you with something. Maybe they just come and stroke you a little bit and say, hey, we're sorry, man. Hey, here's this on the side. Hey, this is what we could do better. Maybe it just opens up a line of communication with some people. Again, I don't know why these distributors evolved anyways. They're just literally, and this is why I've always told group breakers, and I don't think it's ever gotten through to many of them, but the distributors are not your friend. They're taking margin from you. They're not your friend. They're going back after they hang up the phone with you. They're calling Panini and telling them everything you guys talked about and how they can screw you guys. And it looks like they got some of you guys pretty good on this Panini replay. It looks like you're going to get a little bit of help with this, free box they're giving you in March. That's not going to do a whole lot. So, my third topic is actually going to be some bright news because I have a way for you for specifically group breakers, how they can really, I think there's a big opportunity that most of them or all of them, or especially the large ones, are missing out on, and I'll talk about that. But yeah, there's Panini Replay. Several dealers, talked to me about this and wanted me to give a shout about this, and I'll do whatever I can. This small little podcast and maybe my little Twitter feed, that's about the best I could do. If I was really smart, I would write an article. But again, I can't read that well, can't write that well. But Sports Cards Uncensored can write very well, because there was this incredible article he wrote. Title of it is A Hobby Festivus Airing of Grievances, 2016 edition. So this is just incredible. He's got about 7 bulleted points here, short 3, 4, 5 sentences describing it. Boom, on to the next point. People can't, read long soliloquies anymore. So this is just the perfect blog post, because it's, just short bullet points, right to the points, gets down to business, and certainly doesn't pull any punches here. Let's talk about each one of these, because these are very good topics to discuss, especially at the end of the year here with cards. First point, Panini NFL exclusive is a huge disappointment. And he talks about how without Ezekiel and Dak Prescott, this year could have been really bad with, the number one pick, Jared Goff, sitting on the bench, and Carson Wentz with the Eagles, who started off pretty hot, but has cooled off considerably, at least toward the back half of the season. He says product after product is horrible. Their new product lines are horrible. And he wonders what will happen, to the NFL next year if it's a potentially a down draft class, or the top two guys aren't on the most popular team in the entire NFL. And he's exactly right. And he's exactly right. And here's the problem is Panini, they can come out with product after product that is horrible as long as they come out with one winner. Because remember, we had this show about allocations, how dealers have to buy the boo-boo stuff to get to the stuff that really does sell. So Panini can come out with all this really bad stuff. They really don't need that big a success rate because they'll be able to get these dealers on the line for National Treasures and Flawless and whatever else they come up with, whatever else is hot, and get them to buy these product after product that's horrible. So it's, and again, goes back to why I've encouraged dealers to bluff, to say that they're done with Panini, because that's really the only thing that could get to them is if, a couple of big accounts that maybe, end up with a few $100,000 worth of Panini product every month. If they bluff and say they're done, and if it's 2 or 3 of them, that could really make a difference. That equates to being several $1 million a year. So totally agree with them. Product after product is horrible. Unfortunately, maybe it's smart business that they've run this business to where they only need to hit 1 or 2 winners a year, and it's usually a high-end product, and they can get these guys stuck with, case after case of, Panini Prestige Platinum, at whatever cost per box to get the Flawless and the National Treasures. Second point on the blog post, Panini's photo choices are a huge disappointment. This could be a little bit subjective, but he certainly takes issue with it. He says Panini continuously chooses photos for their cards that feature players posing like they are nude in front of a mirror. So he mentions how, they have this rookie premiere with, usually about 30 of the top rookies every year. And they're actually, I've been to it. They're actually on a football field. And the fact that Panini doesn't take advantage of them and at least getting some kind of Suedo action shots where they're on the field, running like they're actually in a game. And these guys are all padded up in full uniform, but Panini oftentimes use mug shots or, that nude selfie image. So I would agree with him there that their photo choices are usually kind of bizarre, but that can also be kind of a subjective thing as well. His next point, which I believe is also dead on, building products for group breaker formats is a huge disappointment. And I actually totally agree with this. It seems like a lot of times these companies have fallen into the habit of just selling into these group breakers who nobody has really heard about, who don't do an incredible job advertising themselves. It's not incredibly easy sometimes to figure out how group breaks work. When is the break? How much does it cost? Do I get all my cards? What cards am I getting? That's not exactly sometimes the easiest thing to figure out, especially for new collectors. So, he points out that, even Topps took an opportunity to sell a $25,000 product. And they just couldn't stop tweeting about this product, and all of it is being open to group breakers. So, when these guys finally take advantage of the biggest retail channel in the world right now, which is Amazon.com, I'll probably give a golf clap and back pat on any of those guys. But yeah, building these products for group breaker format is just, it serves nobody's interest, because something like Transcendent, which is $25,000, you have to go buy into a spot to access these cards to get this break. And a lot of people don't feel comfortable with that, don't know of these group breakers, don't want to do that, don't like the idea of somebody else opening their cards. And, he's dead on about that. His next point is Panini Replay Basketball is a huge disappointment. I think we've gone over that. So I definitely agree with him there. Next point is actually really good here. The lack of creativity in new products is a huge disappointment. And I really like his point. Hopefully I can find that very quickly. Oh, here it is right here. The issue, this is his quote from Sports Cards Uncensored. Quote, "The issue is that I don't understand how the industry will create more interest in cards if every product that is released is just some version of another product already released. There are only so many cards that can be stomached before someone realizes that a Tom Brady autograph is just like every other Tom Brady autograph and decides it's better to just walk away from the hobby. So, he says, a lot of collectors are just getting really bored because, it's just product after product after product that, it's a new Dak Prescott rookie, but it's pretty much just the same as the last 15 Dak Prescott rookies. It just sits there and looks. Sometimes they even use the same pictures on different sets and different cards. It's the same picture of the athlete. Topps is sometimes famous for doing this. So the lack of creativity, he says, is a really huge disappointment. And I really like the point that it's pretty much all these sets are the same. And that at some point, as a collector, or maybe a lot of times you're seeing collectors re-enter the hobby, and they go through this to where they re-enter the hobby, and then they leave the hobby again because they get frustrated and they get bored, and they're just it's just so much more expensive now than it probably was back when they were collecting. But very good point there. Next point. The slow crawl of product development in digital is a huge disappointment, and this is a big shock because Sports Cards Uncensored is, someone pretty well known to champion, the digital movement and stuff. So for him to come out and say that, product development is right now the slow crawl of it is a huge disappointment. That's pretty telling. So let me read this paragraph because, for him to come out and say that's pretty telling. Somewhere, upwards of 5 companies right now are producing digital-based trading cards. Since 2013, not much has really been created despite some major advancements in technology. Panini Digital is such a starry state of affairs that they can't even figure out how to make their apps worth playing in the smallest possible way, and that is actually true. I downloaded the Panini app actually yesterday on the December 22nd, and it is atrocious. I mean, the packs take like 30 seconds to load, and it's atrocious. They've done a little bit aesthetically, it looks better than it did 6 months ago, but functionality-wise, it works like dial-up internet. I'll continue. Sports Card Uncensored continues. Quote, Topps has taken a golden goose in digital and made it so uninteresting that people are starting to leave digital altogether. Product functionality in the apps hasn't changed since 2014. And even with a new build, the once promising medium seems like it needs a major facelift to remain a long-term profitable venture for any of the companies involved. Wow, this is a guy who has championed digital cards. I believe he even has a digital card website, and for him to come out and say there is a really kind of stagnant nature in digital right now, that should set off freaking alarm bells. So that's a very, very telling quote there. Another point, the amount of scams that still remain in the hobby is a huge disappointment. He mentions fake patches, counterfeit autographs, and all sorts of other ways to take advantage of kind of the average person spending money. Even gives a specific example of the 2007 Topps Rookie Premier autographs that are still selling on eBay despite people in forums and blog posts repeatedly telling people to stay away from those cards. He's exactly right. And the thing this kind of raises to mind with me is that, if people were really making money, if you could make money selling sports cards, if you could become a baller and live the high life, flipping sports cards, you wouldn't need to scam anybody. You wouldn't need to, there would be no reason to scam anybody. It's the fact that these people can't make an honest living probably doing something else. They've got to try to scam out some money over on the side because these guys don't know how to run a legitimate business. And sports cards breeds that. For lots of different reasons. Probably won't get into them to not offend anybody, but my IQ level isn't very high, but trust me, if we took a survey of some of the collectors around, you probably find their IQ level isn't that high either. His final points is that the Panini Rewards is a huge disaster, and he's exactly right. I remember when this thing got announced at the Vegas Summit. It was the year actually I got banned. They announced this, and everybody flipped out. Oh, this is game-changing. I'm going to go back and get all the quotes from people who said this is game-changing and this is unbelievable. Thank you, Panini, Topps. It's time for you to step up and do something and blah, 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 blah. Guess what? All these people who were hyping that were literally 15 minutes after they heard that statement and they were getting a black box, a Panini Black Box valued at whatever, $200 to $500. So, don't believe anything you hear that comes out of the summit, because these guys 5 minutes later are going to get a free box that, they're going to go googly-eyed over. So he's exactly right. The Panini Panini points is just a way to, make more money. There are people who have like the Panini rewards like on a bot refresh, and so they actually know when they put new stuff on. So anything good gets wiped out literally within seconds. Like you can't get anything good on the Panini reward site. So if you get some reward points and you don't want to spend your whole life refreshing the Panini rewards website, you won't end up with anything good. So I wish all those people who said it was going to be game changing and wrote positive things about it, I wish they would come out and apologize, but not going to hold my breath waiting for that. Moving right along. Group breakers. Why aren't you guys consigning items? I brought up the stats the other day for this is just baseball cards, category 213 on eBay, not 214, which is basketball. 215 is hockey or football. 216, I believe, is actually football. Those are the categories on eBay. So I searched what are the last 30 days top sellers on eBay. This can be done on a website, Terapeak, which is $29.99 a month that I subscribe to. Just in the last 30 days, Pre-War Card Collector, which is basically a consignment place, did $1.9 million in sales. Probstein 123. And now these are, half of these are shill bids, but who really cares? $680,000 in sales. What isn't shill bid is the check on my cards number, $77,276. That is a real number because they're all buy it nows, so there's no way for them to shill bid or buy their own cards. They sold 12,725 baseball cards, just baseball cards. And if I had more time or was smart enough or wanted to do some math, I would add up all these guys for football, basketball, hockey, and then maybe some other little categories. Maybe I'll just totally encapsulate the sales. I mean, these guys, Probstein and PWCC, do like millions of dollars in consignments per month. And they do make money on this. I've seen the Probstein 123 operation in action. He's got like 6 guys working for him and listing stuff and trying to buy stuff at shows to consign. Group breakers, you guys are the perfect guys to do this. You're getting the cards. You're opening the cards for the customer, and you've got to ship them anyways. You got to ship them to somebody. Why not double dip? Maybe some of you guys do this. Maybe you don't know how to do this, or you haven't fully developed this business. You've already got somebody in-house who's probably sorting stuff for you. You got somebody in-house shipping stuff for you. You got somebody in-house who could probably list stuff on eBay. And here's what I would do. Don't open something and be like, oh, I'll get this on there tomorrow for you. No. You set one day a week or maybe 2 where you list items. Okay? And those are the days you list, because you're probably going to hire somebody to do it. And so you want somebody to come in, have a huge stack of cards, and they just list all those cards in one day. You want to be careful with your promises here. Go to PWCC's terms of service and see how he sets it all up. Go to Probstein 123. You guys are just as smart as these guys. You guys could build just as big an operation, and it's such a quick little add-on for you guys. You guys are opening tens of thousands of dollars worth of product per week that a lot of times these guys just want to turn around and flip anyways. So sell it for them and get money for it. Even if it's a small percentage. Like I said, you've already got somebody you're paying to sort and ship anyways. Why not churn out a little more money? It's astonishing. I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers. I mean, PWCC probably last month did like 3 million in sales. There's probably not a group breaker. I'm guessing there's not a group breaker that did 3 million in sales. That would be a little high. That'd be a lot high. Actually, I think maybe a good month for a group breaker is 1 million in sales, maybe, or less. I mean, probably less, but I don't think they get anywhere near 3 million. So if you're getting even if it's a fraction of, small percentage of these millions of dollars of sales, guys, it'd be a good way to chip that off. And you might say, oh, this is all shill bidded up. Again, Check Out My Cards did 100,000, close to 100,000 in just baseball cards. So why you guys couldn't set up a full-fledged operation and sell your customers cards seems like a perfect scenario for me. And seems like, again, another thing where you guys kind of leave a margin on the table where you're shipping these cards to these guys and they're listing them when you could list them yourselves and chip off a percentage there. Again, go to Propsy123 website, see how he set it up. Go to PWCC, see how they set up their site, and just copy them. Guys have copied you guys countless times. You breakers and other deals, guys have copied you left and right. So now it's time for you guys to start doing the copying. I just noticed that. I was like, wow, these sales are astonishing. I can't believe, and these guys have to beg people to send them cards so they can consign them. You guys are opening the cards for them. They're right there. All it is oh yeah, put those on eBay. You can come up with some kind of way to where that the collector wants those cards to be put onto eBay. You have to figure that out. And again, don't be very careful about your promises. I would only, list 1 or 2 days per week just to start. It's also a great way to diversify your business. If you get stuck with, $10,000 with a Panini replay, who cares? Because you're doing, $100,000 over on eBay consigning stuff, and you can promote your break in every single package that you send out. I mean, you come up with, go to Vistaprint or, a local print shop, print out a business card or flyer or both or something and send it to promote your website, send it to promote your breaks. And then maybe you're going to be able to pick up customers who are buying singles on eBay. Maybe now they're going to discover that, oh, this guy does breaks too. Oh, cool. I can sign up on his website and stuff. Just some ways to, diversify your business. I just noticed the huge numbers that are coming in for these people, and people love the consigning. That's what's made Check Out My Card so popular. People don't want to sell their stuff. I don't ever want to list anything on eBay. Ever. I mean, the last thing I did was a little charity auction, because I think that's one of the most useful things on eBay is you can give 100% of your money or a percentage of your money to a charity, and it automatically donates it for you, whatever it sells for. So those are probably the only thing I'm ever want to do on eBay, is sell something where, I could give back a little bit. You guys are busting your butt all the time, and you got people with you. You got a packer. A lot of times the larger operations have a packer, have a shipper, have a guy who can list some stuff. Utilize it. Start small, and you'll be surprised at maybe how big that grows and how many of your customers will take advantage of it. And then the indirect marketing you can do when you're sending out bubble mailers, it's almost like an indirect way to market yourself, because you're sending, these packages to new customers who are now getting these cards, and you can promote to them. So just a little thing there. Another thing to promote, selfish plug here, findacardshow.com. Hopefully by the end of January, I'll have it all updated. I think I'm through like Illinois or something with at least the shows that have been going on for a little while. I think I've updated through Illinois. So it's going to take a while, because there's well over 200 card shows. Believe it or not, there's well over 200 card shows across the United States. That's well down from the peak of in the 90s. There was actually a really good study that I read one time about that. They chronicled there were like thousands of card shows. There was like a card show every day back in the day, like thousands of card show. Today, that number is probably in the 200 to 300 range of total shows. One show that I don't think gets enough attention, I'm going to have to go to it, is the Fanatics Authentic Show. This is a company that is absolutely taking over the sports licensing game. Incredible. Fanatics also bought a company that I had invested in. It was called Dreams, and Fanatics ended up paying like 2 or 3 times the stock price that I paid for it. So I'm a big fan of Fanatics, but they're really into the big sports licensing game, and they put on these shows. And I talked to somebody who went, and they say it's basically just like the National. It's held in the same building, for one thing, in Rosemont there in Chicago, or near Chicago. It's basically the same show as the National, minus the corporate pavilion and minus the hype. That's the way this person put it. So I was like, whoa, I think I need to go to this. They have tons of autograph signers that come out. They have some dealers who come out. There's a really good dealer network there in Ohio and Illinois, and kind of that Rust Belt there. I mean, some really that's kind of the parts of America where cards are actually and Texas as well. I really got to go to the show. They're holding 3 this year. I mean, the National does 1 show a year, and the Fanatic Show is holding 3 in Rosemont. The same place the National is going to be 3 times this year. I think 1 in March, 1 in like June or July, and then one in like November or something. I got to go to one of these because I think it's under promoted. I don't think people know about it. And if this thing's anything close to the national, this thing needs to be promoted. It needs to be on the same level. They do 3 per year. Fanatics is a candidate to buy the national. The Fanatics company is a candidate to buy one of these card companies because they could immediately turn it into just turn it right into their licensing game that they have. They do t-shirts and hoodies and jerseys and all kinds of things. They're trying to get involved with everything. And they've really gotten involved with autographs and in a little bit of way cards over the last few years. So little shout out, go to findacardshow.com. It is a site that I will be updating. I'm going to try to have both a really cool desktop version that's sortable and kind of usable, but also a mobile version of the site. I've got to figure out how I'm going to lay that page out, but it won't take me long. Once I have most of the card shows chronicled, I can then figure out my strategy to display that really well on a mobile device. So hopefully you can quickly be able to find a show using your phone. It won't be an app, but you'll still have to go to the website. Definitely won't be an app. I'm not going to blow my money on that, but you can still go to the website, find the shows, hopefully easily, hopefully with a few clicks. I like to show pictures. Some of these dealers have been sending me information and stuff. I even looked at my email subscribe. I picked up like 200 email subscribers in the last few months off that website. I was like, whoa. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are these real sign up? I even went and looked. I was like, are these like all like, Indonesian email addresses that, I got spammed or something? But it was all like legitimate people. And I even sent out an email where a bunch of people opened it. And I was like, oh my God, there's something onto this to where, I think promoting card shows, even in a small way that can help build the community. I love card shows. I wish there were more around me. I wish I could put one on myself. Certainly would be something I would invest in or come and promote. So if you do shows, definitely send me an email. If you're a show promoter, or you have information about maybe a show that you could send me information, send me your pics, send me, if you have video, I'll shout you out. I'll put links to whatever you want. If you've got some information about a local show, promote them and I'll definitely do my part. I'm trying to build up a Facebook page too. I only got like a couple hundred likes on it right now, but I'm trying to build that up to where maybe I got a few thousand likes to where, I could post some information about card shows and it becomes a little more widely distributed. So check that out, findacardshow.com. Another site you want to check out that's not my site, Sports Card Info. Guy's a really nice guy. Corresponded with him just on and off over the last many, many years. His site was actually around before Sports Card Radio, which was like, I think we set that site up, and my brother did in 2009 or something like that. He does a really nice job on this website, and I've actually gone to this website, especially around national time, because he seems to, this guy even like scoops. He'll email some of the people doing promotions for the national and get information before anybody else and get some exclusive information. So definitely around national time, I'm always checking out his site and getting information. He sent me it was really well. I meant to ask him, I got to ask him where he got it made. It's a really nice pin, like a pin that we put on your hat or on your shirt or something that says Sports Card Info. So really cool. Try to take a picture of that and put it in the show description on Sports Card Radio. Winding down here, last thing I have written down here, a couple things I saw on TV. Documentary called Sour Grapes. I would say it was okay. It took me I fell asleep 3 times watching it, so it wasn't like riveting, but it was interesting. It was about fake wine. This Chinese, maybe might have been Chinese dude made fake wine and like ripped people off. Like, you think sports card guys got ripped off? Whoa, some of these wine guys got destroyed. And this was all done like in these big huge auctions, and it kind of reminded me of sports cards, like really, like, so scamming and fake stuff certainly isn't limited to sports cards, and it can even filter into like a wine community, whereas most people, they think about like wine, they think about these super sophisticated, like rich guys, smart guys. Well, trust me, some of these super sophisticated rich guys got freaking cleaned out. Another site I want to shout out, it's called lynda.com, Lynda. I believe it's owned or subsidized by LinkedIn. Really good tutorial website. The corporate tax rate's going to go from 35 to 15%. So I was like, wow, this is an incredible time to either bank some of that money Or what I'm thinking about doing after I do a little research is probably just reinvest this money and spend money and create more websites and hire some people and really go all in, because you really can afford that with not having to worry about taxes as much. So I was like, wow, but I really need to brush up my web game, because a lot of this is self-taught, a lot of this is just kind of on-the-go training that I've had, and none of this is formal. I graduated college in something totally different. I didn't start setting up websites until like many years after I graduated college, so I have no formal training. And I thought about even taking some formal training, but I found this subscription website, Lynda, which is like, it costs about like $20-$30 a month. But wow, so the few videos that I've done, I've like watched the intro to HTML, intro to CSS and stuff. Thankfully, when I watched that stuff, I was like, whoa, this is all review for me. Like I know all this stuff, but that was a little bit of a relief for me. But I was like, whoa, this is really good for people who don't know what all this is. And it can be, trust me, it can be very intimidating to be like, well, how do I even set up a website? What is WordPress? How do I get my file from over here to there? How do I install WordPress? How do I buy my domain and then get a website? It can be very, very confusing. But this website has so many videos that can walk you through all these different processes. So, and I'm looking forward, I'm trying to be patient. That's, operative word of the day. I'm trying to be patient and go through even these reviews, even these videos that are more review for me. I'm trying to get through them so that I can get to I already peeked at some of the more advanced stuff to where I was like, oh man, I need to style. I have this website where I need to style the CSS bad. Like the software I'm using is really, really bad. But if I could style it, it would really turn into this dynamic site, and I could get tens of, if not, probably 10, 15,000 hits a day on this website, which would be big, and good money too. And I wouldn't have to do anything. So lynda.com, definitely something I shouted out, right? Want to shout out, because even the few videos that I've subscribed to it right now, I mean, even if I let that subscription run, it'd be like $400 a year. I mean, 1 or 2 videos could pay for that, because you could set up a website and make, $2,000-$3,000 on that website and be done. Podcast recommendations. This is a shocker here for a kid out in California recommending this one. Ben Shapiro, this it's just a conservative Republican leaning podcast. That's incredible. I mean, it's great. This guy breaks down stuff in a real clear manner. I think he's only like 31 years old or 31 years old. Just a super sharp guy. And actually listening to this, I've actually learned a lot about myself. I'm like, wow, I have really liberal social views, like very, very liberal social views. I think people should be allowed to do whatever they want. I mean, who really cares? But I actually have I'm finding that I have, finding more and more that I have very extremely conservative fiscal views and view of the government. I certainly, while I have very low liberal social views, I certainly don't want to be paying for anybody's college or anybody's rent check or anybody's subsidized housing or anybody's dog or anybody's cell phone. And trust me, living out here in I know people that have taken advantage of the system, and it just makes me sick. And a lot of those are, Democrat-leaning policies that have been enacted over the years. But definitely, if you're a Democrat or Republican, I would highly recommend listening to Ben Shapiro, the Ben Shapiro podcast. He does one almost every day for an hour. It's great. I've listened for the last month, and every day I'm like, man, I can't wait to listen to this dude, because he breaks things down to me in a very simple way. And politics, I think, can sometimes be a little confusing, or there's a little bit of barrier of entry because you think you need some knowledge about, worldviews and stuff. Not really, because this guy has a very conservative view on the world, and so everything is through that lens, and he explains himself very well. I tend to agree with a lot of things that he says, and he definitely doesn't agree with Trump all the time, or maybe even half the time. So don't think that you're going to be listening to the show and it's all going to be, oh, Donald Trump is this, that. He's often criticizes Donald Trump. He often criticizes, Democratic Party, Republican Party. Just a great podcast. BenShapiro.com. Extremely intelligent individual. Highly recommend it. And boy, we're right here at the hour mark. This is when I always have to shut down on the podcast, because that's about when my time frame ends. So see you later. Hopefully we'll be back going down to Vegas and going down to LA. You think I'd live the high life, but a lot of work goes into this. But gonna be enjoying the next couple months and taking some time off. See ya.